Alright, I started out this dig trip in Pittsburgh. I walked through the woods a lot and found probably 1,000 bottles scattered around, but they were just junk, 1940s to the present. But I did find this one really nice bottle. It's a clear Christmas Coke. You just don't see these in clear. It's extremely rare. I've been digging bottles for 25 or 26 years, and this is the first clear one that's a Christmas Coke. I find 1915s in odd colors, but you'd think by the 30s they would have the standardized green. And it's from Sanford. Pretty good town to have a bottle from. So I probably will keep this in my collection because it's rather unusual. Well, I found this in the creek. The red paint's gone, but I think the white paint will stay on. I just gotta clean it with muriatic acid. Then I found a couple of Coke bottles. They're just a patent office variety. This one's all the way from New Bern, about 180 miles away. And then this one, of course, is from Greensboro. That's to be expected. Then in the woods I found this one sticking out of the dirt. And just so I wouldn't come back with so little, I picked this up. And this one, I usually leave this kind of stuff behind. Then this one is more square and a smaller size. I had to walk barefoot in the creek, and the water was about 52 degrees to get these things, and they're only worth a couple dollars each. Well, I just got back from digging a dump for a few hours, and I found a lot of ordinary stuff. A few decent things came out. A couple of these common poisons, and 10 pin from England. Cobalt ink. Unusual cobalt bottle there. Pluto water. Chiro Cola. A straight-sided Coke. Common embossed beer. And a nice big cobalt ink. Probably the best thing. Then one of these Baltimore McCormick flasks with the B on it. Another Chiro Cola. An embossed milk bottle from St. Louis. Common Pepsi from the late teens. Another Chiro Cola. And a jar that has a slightly green kind of tint to it.
Put it up to his light.
And a whole box full of common slick kind of stuff. And a tiny porcelain sign. Well, not too bad for 3.5 hours. Alright, I'm back in one of my favorite digging spots. I haven't been here for a year and a half, and it's kind of hard to recognize exactly where it's been dug and where it hasn't, so I've been probing around, and I think I got a reasonably good spot poked out right here. So I'm going to dig about 6 feet deep and see what's down there. Alright, I'm down 3.5 feet, and I'm starting to find a few things. I got an unembossed pharmacy, and this is kind of interesting. It has a glass stopper in it. And then down here I got 2 decent looking bottles showing. This one has an interesting textured design. It looks like some kind of a White House product. Then down there, Orange Crush. So I'm going to dig those out and see if they're intact. Well, they're both intact. This one I'm not familiar with. It looks like a White House bottle that I have, but not exactly the same. Pretty sure it's a White House product though. Then your typical 1920 dated Orange Crush. No city on the bottom. So maybe I'll get $4 or $5 for it. Alright, I finished that hole. I gave up on it pretty quick. I wasn't finding hardly anything. It was mostly screw tops from the late 30s. By far the worst spot I ever dug in this dump. But today I've moved on about 20 feet over, so I'm hoping this spot's going to produce some sodas from the late teens and early 20s. Well, I'm down pretty deep now. I'm not having much luck. This must be the second worst hole I've dug. But I did just pop out a Coke bottle. It's got to be a 1915. It's not a North Wilkesboro, it's a Charlotte. But it is in perfect condition, which is pretty rare because about 99% of the Coke bottles I found here are cracked and smashed up. Well, I found a beer now. Pabst Blue Ribbon. It's got to be about 1916 to 1919. Looks to be in mint condition. Alright, I'm finally getting down to a layer of bottles. Got that beer showing, and then that looks like a soda. Then we got the bottom of another soda sticking out. It's something that looks like a pharmacy. So I'll get them out and see if they're intact. Well, there they are, 2 Pepsis, but of course the tops are broken off. They're the triple script type, one up there, one there, and on the bottom, if you can see it, there's a Slick beer, and then a food product. Alright, I'm getting down to that soda layer pretty well. I was here about 2 years ago and found a lot of sodas log jammed in there. There's 3, 4, 5 of them. So I'll get them out and see if any of them are intact. Well, while I was clearing the dirt out, I hooked onto this 1915 Coke. It appears to be in mint condition, but I gotta put it in water right away to keep it from cracking. Well, I just found a whole Pepsi bottle, although it does have a few problems. There's a fresh looking crack right there. I might have done that by yanking on it too hard. But it still displays fairly well, so I might get $25 or $30 out of it. Alright, I got 2 Pepsi showing. The top one looks like the sideways scripter, which is a multi-$1,000 bottle. The one down there is the unlisted variant, which should be worth $1,000, but I can see it has a crack in it already. Well, there's the one. It has a huge crack going up the side and it looks really fresh. This one is not the sideways script, but it is the F&F Bottling Works, which is the companion bottle to the sideways script. It's in fairly good shape, it just has a lip chip. That is a Richmond Pepsi right there. Would have been about a $180 bottle, I think. There is the first piece of the sideways scripted North Wilkesboro. That's all I can seem to find is pieces of them. And I don't know what this is. It says Boonville. Something I've never seen before. Would have been a nice one. Looks like a piece of a straight side of Coke. And a cork top olive oil bottle. Nice little paneled medicine. Well, I just pulled this one out of the higher up layer. The late 20s, early 30s. No city on it, and it of course has a lip chip, but still worth a few dollars. Well, I'm getting down there pretty good, and I'm gonna have to quit filming because I'm not gonna risk ruining any more expensive bottles by standing here telling you about them while the sun hits them and cracks them. So you'll just have to wait till the end of the video when I get back home, and then I'll show you what I got.